All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leonardo, and it's just going to be me with this video here today. But we're going to be reacting to the Moon Knight trailer that came out, I think last week. I think last Tuesday. Well, Tuesday before last. Last week's Tuesday. So I haven't checked it out. I'm not a huge Moon Knight fan, but I know who the character is in the comics. I'd probably say I'm a 60-70% Moon Knight fan. Like, I've read a few of his runs. I haven't read everything that he put out, but I read some of the older stuff and some of the newer runs. So let's jump into it. And then after the trailer, I'm going to give my thoughts on it. So here we go.
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
I have a sleeping disorder. I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
Hello, and welcome.
That can be a problem. That had to hurt.
I think I'm losing it.
We'll catch you on. You're bloody useless, Stevie.
Stephen. I can't tell the difference between life and dreams.
Okay. So they're gonna legit bring in 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞?
Lost the contact lens.
Hope you find it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're alive. What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark? It must be very difficult. The voice in your head. Shut up! There's chaos in you. Embrace the chaos.
Okay. Different take on the costume, but I like it. Okay. Getting his Batman on. Okay. All right, so let me just take this back for a sec. So yeah, that wasn't bad, YouTube. The only qualm that I would have with it is I don't know if they're changing his origin, or I think this person that we see, maybe he may not be the dominant personality, because Moon Knight has multiple personalities in his head, probably like, I want to say like 3 or 4 of them. And the main personality, I guess, you know, the normal personality, the human person that he is Mark Spector. He was, I want to say like a mercenary who was over in Egypt and died in a pyramid or was about to die. And he pretty much made a deal with 𝐿 to bring him back to life, essentially, if he were to become 𝐿's, I guess you could say, avatar, knight on Earth, whatever you want to call it. And in doing so, at least in the comic books, depending on which run you read, you don't know if 𝐿 is legit or if he's just crazy, you know? So he has these different other personalities in his head. I think like Jake Lockley. I think one of them may be the museum curator guy, but in the comic book, he's not a museum curator, I guess you could say. So I don't know if they're taking that specific personality and kind of changing it to be Mark Spector, and that's the main thing, and Mark Spector is going to be the personality, or he's really Mark Spector, but he's living this other life with this other personality, and this other personality thinks it's him when really it's not. It's very weird. But this is one thing that I was kind of hoping they would do with the show, because you can do a whole lot with that. It's going to be trippy, to say the least. And if it's going to be one of those things where you can dive into psychotic episodes, or which personality am I, or he doesn't trust this self, you can play a lot with that when it comes to the story and when it comes to the character themselves, because it's really Oscar Isaac really has a chance to probably play 4 different people as one person, or 4 different people in this show. And then it's left to us to interpret which one's the dominant one, which one's the lesser one, what's going on with those, how do they all mesh. This could be one of those things where they just show us a bit of everything, and then at the end, they kind of bring it all together, and, you know, that's when he's going to be Moon Knight going forward. So this whole season, it may be all over the place. I hope it has some kind of cohesive structure. When I mean all over the place, it could be, you know, good or bad. I'm hoping that in a good way, though. To speaking all over the place in a bad way, look at Boba Fett right now. You know, the best episode of that was the one that came out today, and that didn't even have Boba Fett in it. It was a Mandalorian episode. So that's what I mean about being all over the place. You know, you don't want to be disjointed and, you know, mess up what you're trying to tell. I'm hoping the story can maintain its, you know, cohesiveness throughout, so that we get a story from beginning to end. And it looks like they're just straight up making Moon Knight, I guess you could say, magical or mythical or whatever, based on his costume, as you guys can see. So, I mean, that's a good thing, you know, because in the comic books, a lot of people claim that he's like Marvel's Batman, and he kind of is to a point, not necessarily as far as the character, but as far as I'm a rich white guy who dresses up and fights street level bad guys at night, you know, and they're both crazy. I guess you could throw that in there too. But outside of that, Moon Knight has a whole lot different going on in Batman in his comics. And he's not afraid to put villains down or take them out or get really violent to, you know, save the day or to save other people or to get the job done. So he's a very different kind of character than Batman in that regard. But I mean, I'm hoping that they kind of do this justice. So far from this, it looks like they're doing it. Because in the beginning, when Moon Knight first came out back in the day, a lot of his comics were centered around horror and like stuff. I think they had him fighting werewolves and other mystical creatures and other people who like had Moon Knight's powers, like other kind of avatars or other people that was dressed up like him. So if they continue that going on with this, I don't know who this guy is. If they said his name, I must have missed it. And I'm not too familiar with a lot of the older Moon Knight stuff. So maybe he's somebody from back in the day or something like that. But I'm not sure who that is. So if he's going to be your main protagonist, I know, I forget what his name is, but I want to say Ethan Hunt, but I know that's the main guy in Mission Impossible. But I like him as an actor. I've seen him in tons of stuff. I just forget what his name is. So I think it could be very, very good. I just hope they don't fuck it up. Don't put no kind of woke stuff in it. Don't put any kind of like agenda, politics and stuff with it. I wouldn't even want to see a lot of jokes in this. Like, yeah, you can have a joke here and there, you know, that kind of sort of thing. But Moon Knight wasn't known for like a jokey or quippy character, you know? Well, at least the main personalities wasn't. 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞 can be kind of serious, but he was also kind of suave in his own way. So if they're going to have that character in this be a cab driver, then it's like, okay, look, you can make that work. But as long as the jokes don't take away from the tone of what they're trying to tell. It looks like it's somewhat serious. I'm hoping the CG gets a little bit better because that mirror flash was kind of bullshit. What I'm guessing story-wise is he's going to probably be in the museum, and I'm guessing weird magical stuff starts happening. And like he finds the phone, and then he calls the person, and then he realizes like, oh, I'm this person that hid this phone. And it's like, we're learning the story as that personality is learning who he is. So that could work. I just don't know where they're going to take it. I mean, I'm hoping we get, I don't know which version of Moon Knight. I forget what his name is, but the one who dressed up in the suit and did the raid in the comic. I'm hoping we get that somewhere. So I'm hoping, I mean, I don't know if that's going to be in this season. Maybe it's in like season 2 or something. Because this is probably going to get 2 seasons. Most of the Marvel stuff gets 2 seasons. But I'm hoping that they can actually do something with it to make the audience care about the character, because then they'll push him in other stuff. And Moon Knight is a really, really cool character. His biggest problem in the comics that I that I see is when a new writer gets on his book, a lot of stuff can change. One run, he can have powers. Another run, he could be just, oh, the powers are all in your head. You're crazy. So there isn't a whole lot of consistency as far as, like, let's say, like, if you read a Batman book now and read a Batman book, let's say 15 years ago, it's still the same character, you know, for the most part. Yeah, some things may have changed, but the core of the character is still the same. Moon Knight, outside of him being an avatar for Khonshu and dressing in a white costume and having multiple personalities, outside of those three things, anything else can kind of change, and it can change the dynamic of how you see the character in each run. So with this, it's like, okay, maybe are they going to do the same thing with this? Maybe this run is about this personality learning stuff. Maybe season 2 is about another one, or season 3 is about another one. You know, they can break it up and do a lot of different stuff. It just depends on how they do it. I mean, I don't think they would do it that way. I think they're all going to be like coalescing in season 1. And then at the end, he grows to accept who he is, and I guess the mantle of Moon Knight, and then goes forward with kicking ass. That's what I hope anyway. I also hope that it's Disney Plus, so they're probably not going to do it, but I'm tired of seeing Disney cater to the family tone format bullshit. I hate it. As a grown adult, I hate that. You know, I'm 38 years old. Certain franchises, I can see the appeal. Let's say like Star Wars, you know, prime example. That's always been kind of sort of, I guess you could say, kiddie. So you can take it in its own route, right? I don't expect it from them, but at the same time, if they came out and been like, hey, look, we got Mandalorian, that's R-rated, I would watch the hell out of it, you know? Don't just completely cut it out. I mean, have a section for it, you know? Even if in Disney Plus, you had Disney Plus as a whole, but let's say you had, I'm not going to call it like an X-rated section because it's not X-rated, but let's say if they had like an X-rated section on Disney Plus, where they'd be like, hey, look, when you come in this section, it's nothing but rated R material. Here you go. And they still make it, but they only put it under that section. Why can't they do that? Or put it on like Hulu or something else that they have a stake in that isn't on specifically Disney Plus. It's like, why does everything under Disney have to be family, you know, bullshit? It's like, I hate it. Because then that takes away what people can do with their shows. Like, this isn't going to be as dark as it can be. You know, it's like, I want to see him dressed up in the suit doing the whole raid sequence on screen. Chances are we're probably not going to get that because that's extremely violent. That's just the way it is. You know, they're not going to want to be that violent in this show because they want to sell toys and shit. Or let's say in Daredevil's case, like, I want to see this as dark as Daredevil was on Netflix. Probably not going to happen because it's on Disney Plus. So it's like, that's what I hate. It's like, I want them to do a section or R-rated, you know, something to where they're allowed to push out these properties. And maybe that's coming because they said they're trying to keep Deadpool R-rated, but they still haven't not kind of made a format for that yet. So if they do, you know, where they're going to put it. So I'm guessing something like that's going forward. I know they got a new guy over there at Disney now, and they're backpedaling on a lot of the social, political, woke climate stuff that they're doing, or that they have been doing for the past couple years, ever since, I would say the past 2 or 3 years, ever since the Disney Plus rolled out, they've been, you know, pushing that super hard. So now that's not the case. So now they can go in there, do their thing. And I'm hoping that the shows that are coming out this year, next year, and the year after, and with the movies, they're going to kind of be hands off when it comes to the woke political messaging and stuff like that. So we'll see if that's the case with this. I mean, so far, I'm not seeing anything in the trailer. I'm just seeing a really cool show that I want to know what's going on. But we'll see if it's any good when it drops. So that's just my opinion on the Moon Knight trailer here. So if you guys have anything to say down in the comments below about the trailer, let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.